Next, we're going to go to Oscillator 2 and head on up to yet another fantastic filter. The phaser filter. This marks an important, momentous occasion. This is the last oscillator video. Whereas typically I do 1 or 2 oscillator videos. I don't even know how many oscillator videos I've done because this is a digital synthesizer and it's got 80 billion different types of oscillators. It has never been the case that the analog filter wasn't like the 3rd or 4th video at most. It's really bizarre that I am at least in the teens. I don't even know. There are so many different types of oscillators and filters and other functions associated with this synth. And that's what's so weird about this. It's just a small thing. And I hear people are kind of dismissive about it because it's small and inexpensive. But I mean, for what you're getting, I'm astounded. There's just nothing like it. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting and go over to the oscillator section, press 2, so we can go up to the last oscillator type. The last oscillator type is a frog that explodes. I guess I've never had that on there long enough to see the frog explode. Yeah, that's fantastic. Arturia. Wow. Okay. So destroy is just a trio of functions that will undermine the sound quality of your oscillator. So whatever you have, oscillator 1 set to, and I know some people have complained. They're like, you never show us all the cool things that could be happening if you were using all of the different oscillators in one. And it's true. But then you know how many oscillators there are in oscillator 1. And if I were to do all of the functions of these various second oscillator/filter functions with all of the different oscillators possible in the first, I would love to just be showing you all the coolest sounds, but that's kind of not what I do. I teach function and resultant sound. So, there are such infinite possibilities of mixing the second oscillator functionalities with the first oscillator oscillators. Yeah. But again, I'm just going to be super boring and stick with the sawtooth that we have going in oscillator 1. So now we are on destroy, and of course with destroy, I think they do this on purpose. It starts off with nothing, so you don't have any effect, but our first effect, which is wave, is a wave folder. Which sounds kind of like sync at times. All it's doing is it is boosting that sawtooth, and where the sawtooth would typically clip, it's just folding it backward, inverting the part that exceeds beyond, and just creates a totally different waveform. Very raucous. Our timbre is decimation, and so we go to decimate, and what decimate does is it apparently, quote, throws away samples out of your digital waveform. And so basically what that means is our sawtooth stops being a sawtooth and starts developing unpleasant outcomes that we find pleasant because they're interesting. It just gets really messy and noisy. Well, this is a very digital effect because there is typically some distortion and some noise associated with analog. Something like this is a great thing to use on a low level to help a sound more analog. So that's cool. And that's Decimate. Not super exciting, but really great in combination with the other ones. And then our last, the Shape, is Bit Crushing. It basically diminishes the bit count associated with the digital waveform, and in that way undermines its quality. But of course, as you can hear, as I'm just turning the knob, it can be a great effect. Almost filter-like if you were to apply an envelope to your shape knob. And of course, if we wanted to, we could start messing with the other functions at the same time. Oh, there's been a disaster. It's kind of a nice organ there. And I don't know if you have this experience, but I have this experience. Like, I will hear an effect changing a sound, and then I'll think that is that sound affected by that effect. But sometimes I have trouble like stepping out of the sound and coming back to it and saying, this is not like a sawtooth running through this effect. This is whatever this currently sounds like. And that's what I'm having this experience right now with this. It just sounds like an organ. Very messy organ. And it's cool because we haven't done any synthesis to arrive at an organ. We're just using a wave folder and various digital damaging effects, and suddenly we're at a great messy old organ. And of course, we can still use the filter over here. It's delightfully messy. It doesn't sound like digital. It sounds like screwed up electric. You know what I mean? It's not low end. Oh, and I should point out that decimate in your timbre node, decimate in your timbre knob is associated with keyboard voltage. So it will give you different effects depending on where you are playing on the keyboard. Obviously, also good for synthesis if you're doing sound design. We're getting into some territory here that is not tonal and interesting. It almost sounds like glass breaking. I don't know, but yeah. Some very cool sounds in this, the last oscillator found in the Arturia MiniFreak. Now I get to go on and do other functions. But there is, of course, effects. And then there's this. Yeah, I think this is going to be my longest series. Anyway, thank you for watching the Destroy oscillator type found in the second set of oscillators on the Arturia MiniFreak.